In the heart of Germany, nestled within the state of Thuringia, the town of Eisenach stood as a bastion of Lutheran tradition and burgeoning musical culture. It was here, on the 21st of March, in the year 1685, that a child was born who would forever alter the landscape of Western music. Johann Sebastian Bach. He was not merely a musician, he was the culmination of a musical dynasty, a family whose name had become synonymous with the craft of music itself. For generations, the Bachs had served as town pipers, court musicians, and organists, weaving a rich tapestry of sound throughout the region. Young Johann Sebastian was immersed in this world from his first breath, with music being the very air he breathed and the language of his household. His father, Johann Ambrosius Bach, was a talented violinist and the director of the town's musicians, providing his son with his first informal lessons. Tragically, this idyllic childhood was shattered when, by the age of 10, Bach found himself an orphan, having lost both his mother and his father within a year. The young boy was taken in by his older brother, Johann Christoph, the organist at St. Michael's Church in Ohrdruf. Living with his brother proved to be a formative, if strict, musical apprenticeship. It was here that he was formally introduced to the majestic power of the organ, an instrument that would become central to his identity. Johann Christoph possessed a collection of manuscripts from the great masters of the time, which he kept locked away. Legend tells of the young Sebastian, burning with curiosity, secretly copying these scores by moonlight over a period of 6 months. This clandestine act was not just youthful rebellion, it was the insatiable hunger of a genius to understand the very architecture of music. At 15, his beautiful soprano voice secured him a place at the prestigious St. Michael's School in Lüneburg. Here, he had access to a vast library of music and was exposed to the French style, which he absorbed with incredible speed. His relentless drive led him to undertake a famous journey on foot, walking over 250 miles to Lübeck to hear the legendary organist Dietrich Buxtehude. This was a pilgrimage to the high temple of organ music, a quest for knowledge from a living master. He was so captivated that he overstayed his 4-week leave by 4 months, a decision that earned him a reprimand upon his return to his post in Arnstadt. But the experience had been transformative, infusing his own playing and composition with a new, daring complexity. Bach's early career was marked by a series of posts as an organist and court musician in Arnstadt, Mühlhausen, and Weimar. In Weimar, serving Duke Wilhelm Ernst, he entered one of his most prolific periods of composition for the organ. The great toccatas and fugues, including the famous toccata and fugue in D minor, flowed from his pen with astonishing virtuosity. These pieces were not mere displays of technical skill. They were profound musical arguments, built with mathematical precision and soaring passion. It was during this time that he married his second cousin, Maria Barbara Bach, and started a family. However, his relationship with the Duke of Weimar soured when Bach sought a new position in Cöthen. The enraged Duke had Bach imprisoned for nearly a month for his insolence in demanding to leave. Upon his release, Bach and his family moved to Cöthen to serve the music-loving Prince Leopold. The Cöthen period represented a significant shift in his creative output. Since the court was Calvinist, there was little demand for elaborate church music. Instead, Bach turned his genius to instrumental music, composing for the court's excellent orchestra. This era gave birth to some of his most celebrated secular works, including the 6 Brandenburg concertos. Each concerto is a marvel of instrumental color and contrapuntal invention, a dialogue between different groups of instruments. He also composed the timeless cello suites, works of profound depth and solitude for a single instrument. The sonatas and partitas for solo violin pushed the boundaries of what a single violin could achieve, creating a universe of harmony and melody. And it was in Cöthen that he completed the first book of the Well-Tempered Clavier. This collection of preludes and fugues in all 24 major and minor keys was a monumental achievement in musical theory and practice. It was his ultimate exploration of the tonal system, a foundational text for all keyboard players to come. But this creatively fertile period was marred by a devastating personal tragedy. Returning from a trip with the prince, Bach arrived home to discover that his wife, Maria Barbara, had died and been buried in his absence. The loss was immense, leaving him a widower with 4 young children to care for. A year later, he found renewed happiness, marrying Anna Magdalena Wilke, a gifted young soprano. Anna Magdalena was not just a wife, but a true musical partner, assisting him by copying his scores with her beautiful calligraphy. Together, they had 13 more children, though many did not survive into adulthood, a common sorrow of the era. In 1723, Bach accepted his final and most famous post, Cantor of the St. Thomas School in Leipzig. This was one of the most prestigious musical positions in Germany, but it came with an immense and grueling workload. He was responsible for the music of the city's 4 main churches, the training of the school's students, and composing new music for every Sunday service. This relentless demand resulted in the creation of his great sacred cantatas, a cycle of works that form a spiritual and musical commentary on the Lutheran gospel. He composed at a pace that is almost unimaginable today, producing masterpieces on a weekly basis. The Leipzig years saw the creation of his monumental passions, the Saint John Passion and the Sublime Saint Matthew Passion. The Saint Matthew Passion, in particular, is a towering achievement of Western art, a profound musical drama of suffering, betrayal, and redemption. His relationship with the Leipzig Town Council was often fraught with conflict, as they saw him as a stubborn and difficult employee. They failed to grasp the scale of his genius, often complaining about the complexity of his music and his demands for better musicians. Despite these frustrations, he continued to pour his soul into his work, creating music for the glory of God and the ordering of the soul. This is the essence of Bach as the architect of harmony. He did not invent new musical forms, but he took the existing forms, the fugue, the concerto, the cantata, and perfected them, elevating them to their highest possible expression. A fugue in Bach's hands was not a dry academic exercise. It was a conversation between voices, a dynamic interplay of subjects and counter-subjects. He built cathedrals in sound, with every note having its place, every line of counterpoint, a load-bearing pillar in a grand, divinely ordered structure. He could weave multiple independent melodic lines together in a way that was both intellectually staggering and emotionally devastating. This is the principle of counterpoint, and Bach was its undisputed sovereign. In his later years, Bach's music became even more dense, abstract, and introspective. He produced works that seemed to be pure explorations of musical possibility, such as the Goldberg Variations. This piece, a simple aria followed by 30 variations, is a universe of invention built upon a single harmonic foundation. The musical offering was his ingenious response to a challenge from King Frederick the Great of Prussia. Given a complex theme by the king, Bach improvised a 3-part fugue on the spot and later sent the king a collection of canons and fugues based on the royal theme. His final, unfinished masterpiece was the art of fugue. This is the ultimate testament to his contrapuntal genius, a colossal exploration of a single musical subject. The work ends abruptly, the final contrapunctus breaking off mid-measure, just as he introduces a theme based on the letters of his own name, B-A-C-H. In his last years, Bach's eyesight failed him, a result of cataracts. A botched eye surgery by the charlatan John Taylor left him completely blind and in poor health. Johann Sebastian Bach died in Leipzig on July 28, 1750. His own sons, like Carl Philipp Emanuel and Johann Christian, were more famous than he was during their lifetimes. For nearly a century, his genius lay dormant, appreciated only by a handful of connoisseurs like Mozart and Beethoven. It was not until 1829, when the 20-year-old Felix Mendelssohn organized a revival performance of the St. Matthew Passion in Berlin, that the world began to reawaken to Bach's greatness. This performance ignited the Bach revival, a movement that has continued to this day. Today, Johann Sebastian Bach is regarded as a universal composer, one of the pillars of Western civilization. His music possesses a unique combination of intellectual rigor, spiritual depth, and profound human emotion. He is the architect who laid the foundation, the master builder who demonstrated the ultimate possibilities of harmony and counterpoint. To listen to Bach is to witness the perfect ordering of the universe, expressed in sound. His work is a testament to the power of human creativity to find order in chaos, beauty in complexity, and the divine in the details. He remains, and will forever remain, the supreme architect of harmony